Welcome to the first episode of The Jessica Broadway Show, the show where we talk about everything from motherhood to menopause, faith to our finances, and the ever-changing face of entrepreneurship. Why? Because as I like to say, life is now in session and there's a lot to talk about. My hope is that the conversations we have here will bring encouragement and endurance to you and your journey and the story that you're writing with your life. I'm Jessica Broadway, and I live a multi-passionate life as a wife, mom, coach, speaker, ministry leader, community leader, entrepreneur, and podcaster. So welcome to the show. In this episode, we're going to have a chat about why this podcast matters, my philosophies, and what you can expect as you join me. Somewhere along the way, we get told this lie that we have to kind of pick a lane. Pick a career, pick an identity, pick a version of you that makes other people feel more comfortable. But life doesn't actually work that way. It's messy and layered and complicated, and the lessons aren't coming later. They're happening right now if you know how to look for them. In other words, the classroom of life is now in session, and it's okay to be more of who you are. This podcast was born out of that very idea that you don't have to be less of who you are to belong somewhere. You don't have to shrink to fit in so that other people are more comfortable. And over the years, as a grief specialist and success coach, I've sat with hundreds of people navigating life's big questions. Questions about purpose, about identity, about relationships, faith, work, parenting, grief, success. And the thing I've noticed brings them all together is there's a lot of time spent, energy spent trying to get to the next thing, season, or solution, instead of just being who they are and learning from the lessons that life is offering them. They don't really need someone to fix their problems. What they need is encouragement, and they need endurance, and they need some tools to help them move forward with purpose. You're going to hear me say a lot on this show, and I've already said it a couple of times. Life is now in session. I say it because life doesn't actually wait for us to feel ready. It doesn't pause until the kids get older, doesn't wait until the business is stable. It doesn't hold off until we're more confident or we feel ready or we have more answers. Life's happening in the middle of all the questions and in the middle of the growth, in the middle of the messy parts of you taking your mess and making it a message. So when I say life is now in session, what I'm really saying to you is that the moment that you're living right now, it really counts. The season matters and the conversations matter. And the decisions you make today are going to shape the direction of your life for tomorrow. You don't have to wait for a different chapter to start participating and enjoying the season you're in. You get to be a leader and a learner. You get to be someone who has a deep faith and someone who's still asking hard questions. Because the truth is, and this matters, the more fully we show up as ourselves, the less we try to be either happy or sad, but we find the big, beautiful and that allows us to be more of who we are. That's when we really make an impact. That's when we transform ourselves and we become agents of change in the world, because life is happening whether you're ready or not. The time is now, and this podcast is now. It's here to empower you to stop looking for the next big thing to fix you and realize that you hold the keys to your own success. I'm just going to come alongside you and teach you about a few things I've learned in my life and teach you how to coach yourself off the couch. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what coaching yourself off the couch means to live a life of purpose. Coaching yourself off the couch is something that I'll say many, many times throughout the episodes to come. And what I mean by that is that sometimes the couch is literal. You're physically sitting on the couch. But most of the time it's metaphorical. The couch is a place that we've created either in our minds or in our reality where we sit when we feel stuck. It's where we overthink things, where we replay conversations, where we wait for motivation, where we scroll, distract ourselves, where we delay the decisions that we know we need to make. Coaching yourself off the couch means that you're going to learn how to interrupt that pattern, to do some things differently. You're going to hear from amazing people, and I'll give you some coaching along the way. But we're going to learn what it means to take back our own power and stop waiting for someone else to give us the answer, to ask better questions, to learn how to tell yourself the truth, making one small intentional move forward every single day until we create the life we wish existed. Not because everything is perfectly clear, but because you believe, like I believe, that progress rarely comes from just waiting. Coaching yourself off the couch is about becoming an active participant in your own life instead of just a spectator. So in true Jessica Broadway fashion, I don't just do one thing, and I'm passionate about lots of things. And so I decided that the format for this podcast would be best suited if I categorized it in the areas that I feel are the most meaningful areas of life: people, purpose, and possibilities. So we're going to have 3 kind of running conversations in this podcast under the umbrella. And my hope is that when you do come here to spend time with me over time, you'll be able to go straight to the area that you need the most support in. So the first conversation we're going to have is Jessica Broadway and friends. This is what I call my and friends conversations. It's all the people in my life who are living big, beautiful and lives, integrated lives full of lots of different versions of them. People that remind us that we don't have to shrink. We don't have to find a label. We don't have to fit in. And if you want to be on this segment, I'd encourage you to follow along, because we do have actually like a long list right now of people that are living amazing lives and meaningful experiences. They have lots of lessons to share with you. But if you want to be part of the show, I want to hold space for your story and the lessons that you've learned. So make sure you're following along. The next conversation is a conversation about equipping you with encouragement and endurance. This is based off of a verse that has shaped my life and been so meaningful to me. It's my favorite Bible verse, Romans 15:5, which talks about God being the giver, the God of encouragement and endurance. This episode is going to explore faith and purpose and the ways that God meets us in the middle of real life. And our final conversation is, and I'm very excited about this one, podcasts and pancakes. If you've read my book, and if you haven't, shameless plug for it, you can hop on over to Amazon. I made an entire chapter about doing the work that you need to do to get back to the table. And so this segment or this conversation is going to be about all the topics that happen around a kitchen table: motherhood, marriage, entrepreneurship, community building, and right now, the reminder that it just might be your hormones, not your humans, that have you feeling like you're losing your mind. So we're going to talk about raising teenagers and running businesses and trying to keep that home thriving while you chase big dreams, because basically it's about life and all the possibilities it brings us. I'm not here as someone who's totally figured things out. I'm here to have a conversation about every moment, every story, every conversation that can help us reflect and notice what's happening in our lives and be full of wonder for what might come if we do the work, if we dig in, if we live intentionally. Because I believe in my core that life is happening right now for you and for me. And it's not waiting on us to figure it out. We've got to talk about it. We've got to unpack it. So whether you're listening in the car, folding laundry, on a walk, sitting with friends, or sitting quietly before your day starts, I'm really, really glad you're here. Welcome to the Jessica Broadway Show. Let's notice what's happening together and wonder what's possible in this beautiful life. Until next time, love your people, live your purpose, and create possibilities, because life is now in session. See you next time.